What's up, and welcome back to Unusual Chatter Podcast Episode 5. But it's Part 2. Yes, we are not done with Episode 5, guys. With Darrilyn Grillo. Yes, the one and only Darrilyn Grillo. We are not done with her, so we had to split this episode up into 2 parts. So with that being said, we're going to jump right back into it and get back into episode number 5. Here we go. What is your advice for somebody who's single looking for a God-driven man or God-driven woman in this culture these days, this generation?
Good luck.
I know. It's preaching to the choir.
Good luck. I mean, I don't want to. I feel like anytime, we get older, I think you can even hear it from like the generation above us. They're like, kids these days, blah, 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 blah. But like, I kind of feel that, like, and I don't think I'm that old. Like, I'm 30, but like, I kind of look at this next generation. I look at the dating pool, and I'm like,
pray for us, please.
Yeah.
Pray for us.
I don't know, but the advice I could give that's somewhat practical, other than I'm praying for you, is, I mean, you could pray yourself, like pray for God to put that person in your life.
Yeah.
But more important, I say this all the time, is more than praying for God to give you someone and to try and find someone and be so obsessed with dating, is how much are you working on yourself?
Ooh, wow.
Because I was that person. Like, I speak from a place of experience where I was like, I just remember going to like a friend of mine who was kind of like a mentor, and I was just like, is there something wrong with me? Yeah. Like, why is there no one? I feel like there's no one. Like, I'm the only fish in the sea. People say there's plenty of fish in the sea. Where's my other fish? Yeah. And I just remember thinking, I was like, is something wrong with me? Da da da. And I remember deciding myself. I was like, God, you know what? It's just gonna be me and you. I'm gonna be a Christian nun, is what I said. Like, it's just gonna be me and God, and I'm just gonna work on myself. And I said, I want to be my best self physically, my best self spiritually, my best self emotionally, mentally. Like, I just decided I'm gonna work on myself. And that's when God was like, finally, you get it. And then, like, very shortly thereafter, he sent Addison my way. And I had known Addison, that's my husband, by the way, for a really long time. We've known each other. We were both in high school, actually, when we met. We didn't go to the same high school, but we met at church, but we were both in high school. And, it took a long time for that, like, romantic relationship to like bloom. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like God being like, okay, now you get it. Now here's this person that I've made for you. So you have to, I think if you're looking for the best person for you, you also need to be the best person for them. Well, so you have to work on yourself in order to date, I think. Okay. Worry less about other people, worry about yourself.
You yelling at me. I get it.
Sorry,
okay.
Sorry.
All right, God. You said the one person that I needed to hear from to yell at me. I get it.
Sorry.
Okay. Attack me a little bit. All right. Okay. How is it working being a new mom in ministry?
Hard. Working full time in ministry and being a mom is very hard. Yeah. I'm very thankful that God has blessed me with a pretty good like tribe. Like, I'm surrounded by a lot of moms. Yeah. And I'm very grateful that's a lot of moms in ministry as well, and I just can't forsake one or the other, because they're both a very evident calling on my life. Yeah. So I'm like, well, if God's called me to it, he's gonna, yeah, exactly. He's gonna make sure that I can do both to the best of my ability. And it's just balance. Like, sometimes it's like, okay, I need to be mommy right now. Like, I need to be mom full time right now. And then other times it's like, okay, it's time to focus on work. And it's like, I don't want to say you just never fully focus on one thing or the other, because like, no doubt anything that I'm doing in ministry, I'm also thinking about my son, and thinking about, his needs, and thinking about what my role in his life as a mom. Yeah. And moms get it so hard, man. Moms get so much from every arena. Like moms get like, you're working, so you're not spending enough time with your kid. Oh, you're a stay-at-home mom, so you just don't really work. You know, like moms get so much criticism all the time, get so much critique. But I'm very grateful for the people that God has surrounded me with. I'm very thankful that I am in a particular position where I get to be very heavily involved, you know, in my son's life on pretty much every day. Like I can't say that my job ever really takes me away from being a good mom. But being in ministry, I think it's a cool opportunity to be able to represent Christ well to my son. And of course you can do that whether or not you work in ministry. You know, if you're a Christ follower, you're called to that. But it's just cool that I kind of get to raise my son in the church, and I get to raise him in a really fun place. I'm very grateful for my church and that he gets to grow up seeing the gospel presented in such a fun way, in such a great way, in such a easy to understand way. But it's hard. Like, I'm not even gonna, like, I was literally venting to someone, like, sometimes it's so hard for me to decide between being mom or being like, or like my job. In, like, for example, like when my son was sick, he got sick of all days. Like, even if you don't go to church, you know, Sunday's a pretty important day. And my son got really sick, and it was a Sunday. And I remember just trying to figure everything out. And ultimately I was like, no, you know what? I have to be mom right now. And so that's what I did. And you have to decide. And I have amazing leaders. It's not like they're like, well, you better figure it out. You know, like you got to be at work. It's never that. But it's just having to decide, like, you know, it's essentially like, how do you cut yourself in half? But I think a lot of moms can resonate with that. But it's been a really beautiful balance. It's been cool to kind of get my footing, obviously in the beginning, being a new mom. You know, I only have one child. He's my first son. And just kind of figuring it out on the fly has been interesting. But God is so intentional, man. He has placed so many people in my life who've kind of showed me the way, like other moms who have walked this path before me, who are also in ministry, who have been able to help me navigate. Someone actually told me once, like, God gives you the child that you were meant to be the mom of. And so I'm like, I can't ever doubt God's will and doubt his design and doubt, like, okay, God, you've literally called me to ministry and you've called me to be a mom. This is all part of your plan. So I'm not going to overthink it, but I'm going to do what is within my control to do. And I'm going to do my very best, and I'll fail sometimes, but I'm going to do everything I can to be the most present mother and to be the best example to my son, but also just fulfill my calling in ministry as well. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
I was going to ask you, what was the hardest transition from not being a mom to being a mom?
Oh, gosh. From not being a mom to being a mom, you just have, for me, I felt this way, and it could have been in my head a little bit. But for me, I just felt like a lot of eyes were on me. And there's this, like, bounce back culture too. Not that anybody, I don't know, but I felt like from before being a mom to becoming a mom, I just felt like people are just watching you with laser eyes and like, okay, she had a baby. Like, I don't know. It's just like, you can see it, and you get comments all the time, and people don't mean anything by it. Like, people are like, oh my God, you look amazing. Or, oh my gosh, what baby, you know? And meanwhile, I'm like, you have no idea. The, like, almost dysmorphia. Like, I don't want to say like body dysmorphia, but it's like, there's so much you go through hormonally and emotionally after having a kid. Not to discourage anyone from having kids. Kids, 10 out of 10 recommend. I love being a mom, but that transition period was really hard for me. And just kind of like figuring out who I am as a mom. And I think a lot of people say that. They're like, oh, you know, what's my fashion sense now that I'm a mom? Like, or what's my, I don't know. It's just like it's a whole new identity, like becoming a mom and it's just something you don't really get unless you do it. Like, unless you're a mom. Like, you hear people say it all the time. And I remember hearing people say it all the time prior to me having a kid. But that part was just kind of probably the hardest part. It's just feeling like there were some eyes on me. And I want to say I'm grateful. I feel like I was pretty chill with, like, letting go a little bit. Like, I think a lot of moms struggle with, like, anxiety and stuff. Obviously, like, you just brought this new child into the world. They look so little and so fragile, and then you're like starting to re-enter society, you know, after being on, like, maternity leave and stuff. But it was a beautiful transition, but it was a hard transition for me, and that's where therapy really helped me a lot, because I was like, you know, I was really struggling with my body image. I was really struggling with my I don't know if I would say I was struggling with my identity, but body image was a really big one for me. So yeah, that probably lasted a few months, but I'm in a great place now.
That's good.
And I think that's something, like, I put a lot of energy and thought into labor and delivery. Like, that's what I was like, I gotta be prepared for this. And you hear things about postpartum, and it's not even like the information isn't available out there, but it just wasn't what I put focus and energy into. And so that hit me. Like, I was like, whoa, okay, postpartum is a trip. Like, this is a real thing. And not everyone goes through it. Like, some people are like, they feel bliss the whole time, which is, like, great. And I did too. Like, I don't want to, like, discount the fact that I was in my happy little baby bubble for a while, but it doesn't come, it's not like it doesn't come with its challenges. And that was the case for me. Like, just body image was, like, a really big thing for me.
So what's something that keeps you grounded and stress-free?
I'm never stress-free, ever.
What is with everyone on my podcast saying that? I swear every episode that nobody's stress-free.
It's hard, man. Like, we work hard out here.
It's crazy.
And it's hard to just not be stressed. I mean, especially being a wife, a mom, you know, I work full time. Like, it's a lot. It's hard. And I care very deeply. Like, if I'm going to do something, I want to give my 110% to it. So it's hard to be ever completely stress-free. I think what keeps me grounded, I mean, right off the bat, would be, like, my quiet time. Spending time in the Word, in my Bible. I always find, like, I can always feel it. I feel it when I'm not in my Word every day. Like, I can just sense, like, I feel off. I don't feel as grounded, for the sake of the question. But I also think there's beauty in rhythms to a degree. So my day-to-day has some commonalities to it. Like, for the most part, I think some people are, like, really routine people who have, like, they do the exact same thing every single day. And that's not me. That's not my life. But there's certain, like, rhythms that I think remain the same, that I think kind of keep me grounded. And like, for example, I, like, always, I'm going to wake up every day and have the same routine with my son every day. You know, I wake him up and get him dressed and change his diaper and all that stuff. And, you know, reading my Bible every day. Like, there's certain rhythms to it that I think can kind of keep anyone grounded. But I also think having the right people in your life,
that's good,
matter. Having people that don't inflate your ego in your life. People who will call you out when you're being prideful or being, you know, just not who God has called you to be. But yeah, I have friends who humble me real quick. Okay, you being one of them.
Yes, I will.
But yeah, just having friends, people in your life who will support you, but also will call you out on your stuff and keep you. Therapy keeps me grounded. You know, and that, I guess I could say, helps with stress, because I guess that's the whole point. If you're still, like, kind of stuck, then you're probably doing therapy wrong. But yeah, that's those are some things that keep me grounded and less stressed. Never stress-free.
Less stressed. Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's a goal you're going after right now?
I have a lot.
Okay.
I like goals. I'm very goal. So I am very, like, mini goal oriented.
Okay.
Like, people have asked me all the time, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your goal in 5 to 10 years? And my answer is always, I don't know.
Neither do I.
But I do that intentionally. I don't know if you do that intentionally or not. But I'm intentional because people are like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, my goal is to be wherever God has called me to be.
Oh, okay.
I always want to be open because I feel like if I'm so laser focused on this one thing that I want to do, then I close myself off to so many other opportunities. And I think by being so open, God has done things with me and through me that I never thought I could do, or that like I never thought I'd be where I am today. Yeah. You know, doing what I get to do. So my goal is to always just be wherever God has called me to be. So I don't have a specific goal in 5 to 10 years, but I have like little mini goals. Like one of my goals is to cook more, you know? Okay, let me figure out like, I mean, that's a very generic goal.
I'm expecting dinner tomorrow. Or
yeah, I never made you them cinnamon rolls.
She has been saying she's making me some cinnamon rolls for the past 3 months. I just want you to know that.
If it helps, I haven't eaten them either. I ain't made them. I
thought you said you made them and you didn't eat them. I was about to say you made them.
Well, no, I haven't. I just wanted to look at them.
Just looking.
No, I haven't made them. But one of my goals is to cook more because we get into this rut of eating out a lot, and then we eat a lot of junk because we want to eat cheap because it's expensive out here. I feel you. But you know, groceries are expensive too. Yeah. But anyways, inflation. I digress. Inflation hit us hard, man. But yes, I want, like, one of my goals is to cook more, read more, which I've actually been doing a really good job.
Respect.
I actually have my goals split up into quarters. Shout out Becoming. Can I shout them out?
Becoming.
Shout out Becoming. Portia will let you know in the comments. But there's
we'll get Portia on here soon.
But yeah, I have my goals kind of split up into quarters because by quarters I mean like quarters of the year. Oh, so like what? January through March is quarter one, and then so on and so forth. Like every 3 months. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, it is. But it makes them so much more attainable because then I only have to focus on like 2 or 3 per like set of months. Okay. So that way, like by the end, the goal is by the end of each quarter, you're kind of like achieving all of these things. But yeah, I want to read more. Obviously, I say obviously, it's not obvious, but fitness for me is something I'm trying to get back into. I had my first workout on last Wednesday.
My dog.
It was we're in the year 2024, and my last workout prior to that was in 2022. So I had restrictions in my pregnancy. I wasn't allowed to work out. I was actually really consistent, and then I got pregnant, and I had like, my pregnancy was great, but I had some things where they're like, you can't work out, and I'm like, fine. And then you hit postpartum and you're like, I'm not fine. So I'm like, the gym is it just wasn't my highest priority, but I'm in a place now where I can make it a priority. Respect. And so that's something I'm trying to do. So anyways, all of that to say, I have a lot of goals, but they're all like mini goals. Okay. They're not like this, like big.
I was about to say, well, then that messes up my last question, which is how do you plan on achieving that goal?
Oh, what I just said, breaking it into quarters. Okay. Supporting actions. Okay. So like with your goals, you want to be smart. I don't know if you've ever heard of SMART goals. It's like actually called SMART goals. And I forget, it's an acronym and I forget what it stands for, but essentially you want to be really specific. So like if my goal is to cook more, that's such a generic thing. So like to focus it more, I'm like, okay, I'm going to meal prep on Mondays. I'm going to get a meal planner. I'm going to write down all the meals that I'm going to eat. And that way I can make a grocery list so that I can buy those specific things from the grocery store. And those are like practical, tangible things that I can do that will help me with the overall goal of cooking more. So I think you do that with anything. Like even if you have a huge goal, okay, what are the things needed to attain it, and get really specific with those things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, is there any final thoughts you have to say to our unusual family?
Y'all are weird. Get it? Unusual chatter. Just kidding. No, I don't. This is great. This is fun. This is a great conversation.
We're glad that you came. Thank you, Darrilyn, for hanging out with us. We hope you come back and hang out with us again.
I hope you have me back.
We do. hope you come back and hang out with us again. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
I had a tongue twister. You see, I can't do this. This is too much. Anyways, thank you, Darrilyn, for coming to hang out with us. Thank you guys for watching this episode. What is with me?
Oh, you were doing so great. What happened?
I don't know what's going on.
What happened?
I hope you guys had a great time watching this episode. I hope you guys check out episodes 1 through 4 and come back for episode number 6.
Yes.
Till then, well, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and subscribe to the channel. Till then, we'll see you guys next week. Stay blessed, don't stress, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. That was great.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's fun.